to get started, I'm going to use this Makeup Revolution Pro Base Aqua Priming Base. This is supposed to be a spray-on primer, and I'm always very skeptical about these kind of spray primers. I always fear that they don't work. But the ones I have tried in the past, the one from Rimmel and the one from Smashbox, they both work really well. So I'm hoping this one works well as well. So I'm just going to spray it like I normally spray my setting spray. Oh, I'm a little bit scared. Okay, I'll try it. It has kind of a skincare smell actually. It's quite pleasant. It's not too overpowering at all. And I like the mist. It's nice and fine. So yeah, so far I like it. And I am going to use this one to set my makeup as well. It's so funny because I can see every single little hair on my face. Now that I've sprayed that setting spray on, I can see all the peach fuzz. Mainly on my cheeks because I do shave around my mouth. I feel like they lay down when I smooth them downwards like this. So before moving on to my foundation, I'm going to use this liquid highlighter. It's called the Unicorn Elixir. And this one is also by Makeup Revolution. So it seems to be a nice holographic highlighter. I'm going to use this all over my face because I am going to wear a matte foundation. So I'm going to try and dot it on my face. It's not very liquidy at all, it's very pasty. Like a paste consistency. I don't know how much I need. I hope that's enough and not too much. So now I'm going to blend that in. It smells kind of weird. It doesn't have a really great scent. And it feels really weird. Like the texture is just... It's a really weird, almost like really finely, kind of a really fine gritty texture. And I feel like it might have been a huge mistake to apply this all over my face. Because this is truly that unicorn, like pink, blue, purple kind of highlighter. I feel like there is definitely tiny bits of glitter in this, which I do not like. It kind of matches my holographic nails by Primark. I love these nails, but you do have to put a top coat on top, because if you don't, they're going to look really ugly in like one day. So I'm definitely in need of some foundation. So I'm going to use the New York Color Anti-Shine Foundation. It says matte for 10 hours. And this is in the color Ivory. So I'm going to blend in this foundation with a stipple brush by eBay, or from eBay I should say. And I'm sorry if you can hear my computer. I did buy a cooling stand for my computer that I'm using right now, but it only helps so much, you know. But anyways, let's just pounce this foundation on and see how it looks. You guys know I love a good matte foundation, and I bought this foundation in New York in a Duane Reade in Harlem where we stayed. I feel like it's sitting on top of my skin a little bit. I don't think it's blending in that well, but that's not necessarily the foundation's fault. It could work better with a different primer. Also, I applied a very generous amount, and I don't think it's covering up my face to like a full coverage extent. It's definitely covering my skin, just not as much as I was expecting, because it is a more thick consistency. It is a matte foundation. Yeah, normally I just find those to be quite good coverage. I do like it, but it's definitely sitting a bit strange around my nose. It's kind of sinking into pores, not really sitting that great on the nose area. And I'm just using whatever is left on my brush down on my neck and chest, because I do have some little imperfections down here. And I don't want to smear my chest in foundation, but of course I do want it to look nice and even, so this is what I do. So I'm going to try and build this up. I really hope it works and that I don't mess up my foundation, because some foundations you just can't build up, and I often find that if a foundation is looking a little bit cakey, a little bit not like it's sitting on top of the skin, that's usually a sign that it's not great at building. I had the same issue with the Maybelline like hydrating matte foundation, that mousse foundation. So I really liked that one, but it could really easily get cakey. So unfortunately this did the same exact thing that the Maybelline foundation did. I'm going to zoom you guys in. So especially around the nose on this side, it's like incredibly cakey, and you can see it here. I can also still see the little glitters from that unicorn elixir thing. Like, do you guys see? It's just so cakey, it's caking up in certain areas. So I just went ahead and took off all my makeup, and we're going to try this again. And this time I'm going to do things a little bit differently, because I do want to give these makeup products a chance, but I also don't want to get gooped the house. So I'm going to spray my primer spray again. And this time for the liquid highlighter, I'm only going to apply it on, you know, the highlight points. I'm not going to apply it all over my face, because that was a little intense. So I'm going to add a little bit here, a little bit over here, a little bit here. I'm sorry, I'm shaking. I had an energy drink. Here and here. And that's that. And already just that is way too much. Oh my god. Okay, tap it in. So for the foundation this time, I'm only going to apply one layer, and I'm going to apply it with a beauty blender instead and see if that works better. So I'm just pouncing this foundation in with my beauty blender, hoping and praying that this works better, because I mean, that last foundation try was a massive fail. It was so cakey. I'm getting kind of nervous because I have some cream highlight and contour that I want to try out. So I hope I can apply this, you know, the cream contour and highlight on top of this foundation. And again, I'm just bringing whatever is left on my sponge down onto my neck and chest. Okay, so for the foundation, I will say that it applies much better with a damp beauty blender, but it's still not a foundation I would ever use again. It's still really cakey. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see. It's still really sitting on top of the skin. I mean, it looks okay now, but nope, I'm not going to use this again. And I don't know if you can see, but when I like pull my skin over here, you can see it's already cracking up right in here. So that's a big fail, and truthfully I will never use this again. So let's try cream contour and highlights, and hopefully it works on top of this foundation. I'm really scared. So I picked up this Maybelline Master Contour V-shaped duo stick contour and highlight in the color light. So it has a highlight on one side and a contour on the other side. It's a nice light yellow highlight and then a cool toned contour color. And I also picked up this e.l.f. Precision Airbrush Blender brush, and I picked this one up because this is the brush that Amy Macedo always uses for her cream contour. So I wanted to try it because I don't have any cream contour brush. You can still kind of see the highlight through the foundation, and I'm not liking it. I think that highlight is also a fail in my opinion. Oh, so this brush is super soft, and I love the clear handle and the silver. It looks really cute. So of course I am going to complain about the way this is designed. I think it's really not practical to have the contour and highlight in the same stick. I wish it was contour over here, highlight over here, because this is going to be messy really quickly. So Amy Macedo actually applies her product to her brush and not to her face. So I'm going to try that and see how that works. I'm really freaking scared, okay? I'm going to Get some product on here. I'm also really sad that I have to ruin this beautiful brush. But whatever, that's what it's designed for, to apply the makeup, so let's do it. I also don't know how much product I need. So I'm going to try this. Oh, that's not half bad. Okay, right off the bat, I love this brush. So far I also really like the contour. I'm also going to do a little underneath the lip. So I'm going to use this e.l.f. foundation brush, and I'm going to use this along the nose and then blend it out with my same blending brush. So I definitely feel like the foundation is moving around because I am doing cream contour. I was afraid that was going to happen, and it happened. So anyways, let's go ahead and try the highlights. So I'm going to apply this underneath my eyes as a concealer slash highlighter. So I applied the highlighter on all the usual places, and so far it seems very thin. Not a big fan of that, but let's see how it blends out. Yep, it's not blending on top of this foundation. I'm going to zoom you in again. Can you see right here? It looks kind of patchy. Honestly, this foundation is driving me mad. I never want to have an encounter with this foundation ever again. So my foundation is starting to cake up again after I applied this highlighter. And I don't want to blame the highlighter because I really do think it's the foundation. But I'll definitely have to try out the highlighter again. And it didn't do a very good job of like highlighting underneath my eyes. It still looks rather dark underneath my eyes. So I'm going to try out the Maybelline Master Fix Setting and Perfecting Loose Powder. And this is another product that I'm really scared to try because this is some really fine loose powders, and in the past I have found these to be really cakey. But I mean, we might as well try it out because my base makeup cannot get much worse than it already is. So I'm going to set this cakey mess that is the highlighter. Yeah, it does that same thing that happens to me with all these kind of loose white powders. It like sits on top of the skin and makes me look kind of ghostly and powdery. And I know I apply a lot of powder, but there is a difference, trust me. Also, this is not preventing my highlighter from creasing at all. It's creasing. It's creasing. Okay, so I just baked a little bit. I used my beauty blender to apply a heavy layer of the powder underneath my eyes in the spots where it is creasing. And honestly, it's kind of a mess, but I'm hoping I can work with it. So I'm just going to leave this underneath my eyes while I do some blush. So the blush I'm going to use is from my Essence Iron Face palette in the color number 1, Glow for It. So this little palette comes with 4 eyeshadows, a highlight and a blush, and I'm going to use the blush and the highlight in here. I'm going to start out with the blush, which is a nice muted peachy pink. It seems quite light, so we'll see how much it shows up. It has quite a lot of that peachy glow to it. It's quite shimmery, more than I expected. It looks like a matte, not a matte, but a satin blush in the palette. And I feel like it is emphasizing my pores a little bit. But I mean, that foundation just caked up so much on my pores. That's kind of to be expected. So for the highlight, I'm going to take the highlight from here and mix it with the Wet n Wild MegaGlo highlighting powder in the color Crown of my Canopy. And as you can see, this is quite dark. It's going to be too dark for me on its own, so that's why I'm mixing the two. So I'm buffing it in on the tops of my cheekbones. That looks pretty good. I feel like the Essence highlighter toned down the color of the Wet n Wild, but the highlighter still has that really intense shine because of the Wet n Wild highlighter. So I'm happy to see that some parts of this makeup look are working. So I'm going to wipe away this powder. And I'm going to finish off my face makeup with my Makeup Revolution Aqua Priming Base. So this is what the face makeup looks like, all done. It's not as bad as one might have expected or feared, but you can definitely still see in here, like around the nose and eye area, it's super cakey. It's kind of really patchy in here, like right here there's like no foundation, right here there's no foundation. Also my under eye is really cakey and creasy. You can see there are some dry parts in here, some creasing. You can also see that it's already caking up around my nostrils. But if we take a step back and are not too up close and personal, it looks okay. So now we are going to do some eye makeup. And for the eyebrows, I have two different eyebrow pencils. So I have the Eyebrow Designer in Soft Blonde by Essence. It looks like this. And I have the Wet n Wild Kohl crayon in the color Taupe of the Morning. So I'm going to start out with the Wet n Wild Taupe of the Morning. So this is a very creamy pencil. It is an eyeliner and not it's not specifically designed for the brows, so it is more creamy than a traditional eyebrow pencil. And because of that, I also have a little bit of trouble getting a super sharp line. So now I'm going to go in with the Essence Eyebrow Designer, and this one is much harder in comparison. So that's what that looks like. It's not my favorite brow that I've ever done, but it's not horrible either. Another thing that I've noticed is that this Kohl from Wet n Wild, it has kind of a greeny yellow undertone, which that works well with my hair because my hair has that same kind of undertone, but it's a little bit strange. I was not expecting that. So I just cleaned up underneath my brows, and these are the finished eyebrows. They're definitely not the best brows I've ever done, but they're okay. So for eyeshadows, I'm going to use this Nørgaard color Individualize eyeshadow palette in the color Beige and Nudes. And I'm actually going to use the primer that comes in here, and I'm going to apply that with my concealer brush. It's very pigmented, and then I'm going to blend it out with my beauty blender. This eye primer has more pigment than the Maybelline highlighter. However, it does seem just a tad bit chunky. So I'm going to use this light matte taupe-ish color, and actually I can tell that the eye primer is starting to crease, so I think I'm going to set it first. So I'm just using the Maybelline powder. So now I go in with the eyeshadow. The eyeshadow actually performs pretty well considering it's applied on top of a quite messy, patchy, chunky base. It has nice pigmentation and it seems to blend really easily. So far so good on this eyeshadow. It is giving me a bit of fallout. I'm going to use the lightest color as my brow bone highlight, and this seems to be like a satin finish. This is going on a little bit patchy, but that might just be the base. So I'm going to take the darkest color. So I'm using my little blending brush from Morphe. I'll have the number listed below, and I'm applying the darkest color from the palette into the crease. So that definitely is pigment, but I feel like they look a little bit patchy, but again, that might be the base, I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and blend that in a little bit. So now I'm going to take this color from my Essence palette, and I'm going to apply this wet to my eyelid. It's not as intense as I was hoping. I feel like I can build the shadow up, but it's still not as intense as I would have liked. Then I'm taking this dark color right here, and I'm applying this to the outer corner just to make it a little darker out here. And I'm going to go ahead and blend it out a little bit. Can you guys see? It's a little bit patchy. The eyeshadow's out here in the very outer corner. Now I'm going to try out the Essence Smoky Eyes set in the color number 1, Smoky Nights. And I'm going to use the lightest color to highlight my inner corners. This eyeshadow isn't horrible, but it's nothing special, you know? So this dark cream right here from the Nørgaard color palette is actually a gel liner. And I'm going to use this to line my eyes. I have tested this gel liner out just on my hand, and it does not set. So I will have to set it with an eyeshadow. This eyeliner is super easy to use and it has a lot of pigmentation, but because it doesn't set, it's just really hard to use. Because if I wasn't doing this video, I would never use an eyeliner that I had to set with a powder. It would just be too much effort when I can get another eyeliner that can set on its own, you know? So I'm taking the shimmery black from my Essence Smoky Eyes, and I'm just going to go over to set it. And as you can see, it just darkens the eyeliner a little bit, and it also makes it smudge proof, of course. And notably, I'm not having any fallout with this black shadow. So I'm going to use my eyeliner from Wet n Wild. I just keep on looking in the viewfinder and seeing how patchy it is out here. Oh, it really annoys me. So I'm going back into this color and I'm going to smoke this out on the lower left line. So I'm going to move on to mascara. I'm going to use this one by Technique. This is called Lashitude. Yep, I don't like this one either. Oh, there are just so many misses in today's video, but this mascara is unfortunately no good. It does almost nothing for my lashes, like it makes them a little bit darker, but that's about it. So let's cover up this mess with some lashes. I'm going to use the Cocoa lashes in Queen Bee. And actually my mom just texted me and they are on their way. So I kind of have to hurry. And if you know me, you know I never hurry at all. I hate not having enough time. So I'm hoping these lashes will save my look. So for lips, I'm going to use the Essence lip liner in Big Proposal, and I'm just going to outline my lips. The lipstick I'm going to use is MAC's The Pink Print, which is from the Nicki Minaj line. That's actually lighter than I was expecting. And then finally on top, I'm going to use this Essence lip gloss in the color Dress Up Our Lips. That's what it's called. Oh, that's a lot darker, okay. So here we have the finished look. I'm going to go ahead and eat dinner and I'll be back in some hours and we can see how the makeup lasts. But first, here's a little look. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. So I'm back. So it has been 5 hours. It was 4:30 when I put the makeup on and now it's 9:30. So I know 5 hours isn't a super long time, but it's as long as I could go today. So I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see the makeup up close. So this is what we are working with. So the makeup is not looking super great, but it's actually looking better than I thought it would. But then again, my expectations were extremely low. I have gotten a bit shiny on the usual places in the T-zone. And I also wanted to point out, like, I have a lot of like cakiness happening above my lips. Not cute, not liking that. Of course, all the lipstick wore off. I only have a little bit of lip liner left. but that's to be expected. I went out and I had dinner, and lip products just doesn't last on me. Not even liquid lipsticks last. So that was something I was prepared for. I did like the color of the MAC lipstick. I did like the lip gloss from Essence. It was very non-sticky and it felt very lightweight. It was like I wasn't wearing anything at all. I also really like the Essence lip liner. I do like the contour. I'm not too obsessed with the highlight, but I have to try it out again with a different foundation. The blush was okay, nothing fantastic. I do like the highlight. And as far as the eye makeup goes, you can see I have some smudging over here. But this is my most sensitive eye. This is the eye that usually has some smudging. And I will say that this eye has been irritated by my lashes for the entire 5 hours that I have been wearing these lashes. But that's just because I didn't get to place them right because I was in a hurry, because I can't feel the lashes over on my right eye at all. By the way, I love the lashes. The mascara is nothing special. It's not something I will use again. The eyeshadows are also nothing special, but I will try them again with another base and see how that works. For the eyebrow products, I do like the Essence brow pencil. I'm not sure about that Wet n Wild Kohl. I don't think it's that great for eyebrows, and I did wear it in my waterline, but it did come off, especially out in the outer corner. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that liner. So that is it for this first impressions makeup tutorial and wear test. I know my bangs are getting ridiculously long. I'm not sure whether to grow them out or keep cutting them, you know. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. So take care and bye bye.